All right, the 2030 season is here. You know what that means. It's time to build that opening day roster, and we're going to do that together. Before we do that, though, real quick, to all you dedicated watchers, man, like if you're still this far in the series watching, I really appreciate you a ton. Um, I want to give you guys a heads up that for OOTP 27, we have like big plans. Gonna be full blown tutorial videos, another playthrough, like probably more than one. But you dedicated watchers, I want your guys' help really soon. I'm kind of settled on 4 teams I would like our first playthrough to be with, and I want to upload a video hopefully within the week, kind of covering each team in the slightest amount. And I want to make a poll maybe on the page and have you guys vote on it out of those 4 teams. Or down in the comments, what I might do is the most like comment is the team I'll use out of the 4 teams that I mentioned in the video. But I did just want to bring that up before we get too deep into this one. Yeah, let's build this opening day roster. Alex Lira, he's a given, right? He's making it. He is going to be our starting left fielder. CJ Abrams, he's making it. We're not sure where he's going to play at yet. I can't lie, right now, I do trend towards first base currently. Anthony Volpe, our newly acquired shortstop, that's where he's going. Byron Churio, I'm undecided. Like, I think he's going to be our fourth to fifth outfielder kind of guy. Because, I mean, we do have like, what, one, two, three, four, five, six potential ones. So we'll have to see. We're going to skip him at the moment. Omar Alfonso is going to be our starting catcher with Mac behind him. Pedro Lopez, he is going to get the demotion for now. Pretty solid guy to have on the 40, though, and ready to go at a moment's notice whenever we need him. So I'm going to demote him back down to AAA. Up next, Calvin Mitchell. So right now, since he's not going to be playing left or right, I think he's going to be our DH for now. Maybe versus both sides, but at least versus righties. So he's going to slot in there. Up next, Sadon Rafaela. He's going to be our starting center fielder. Aaron Barnett. Okay, so this is when it starts to get interesting. You hope he's capable at second, but Abrams proved this wasn't enough. So there's a world where we put him at first base and instead put Abrams at second now since his defense got better. Uh, but for now, just for the sake of helping us understand things, we will put Barnett as second. Bobby Garcia. Okay, so he's another DH type bat. Him and let's compare the two. Him and Mitchell are extremely similar bat. I mean, almost to a T, man. Like other than the power, Mitchell has +5 more power. Even whenever it comes to the splits, look how similar they are. Mitchell does beat him versus lefties. Versus righties, Bobby Garcia only has +5 more contact. So I do trend toward Mitchell. I think that does mean for now, Bobby Garcia probably is going to be demoted down to AAA, and he'll probably come up at a moment's notice whenever we have an injury or something like that. So he won't be making the open day roster this year. Up next, Brooks Lee. I think he's going to be our starting third baseman, starting third or second. Um, he had a rough spring. You'll see his final average was 175, but I'm not too worried about him. He's been consistent over the years. That 2028 year was after he was traded to us from the Athletics, where he kind of got in that slump, but then he literally turned it around the very next season. So I think for now, Lee slots in at third base. And then we have Eddie Zamora. So this is where it gets interesting about if we keep Churio or Zamora as that utility outfielder, fourth outfielder type. I can't lie, I like Churio's bat a lot, but the dude hasn't figured it out. I mean, he had 513 plate appearances for us last year and hit 88 WRC plus, and his defense was pretty bad. At okay, wait, he oh no, never mind. I saw the range. That's what caught me off guard. Yeah, negative 9.8 at center. Left field was fine, and he probably would have been fine at right field clearly. But I think that's where Zamora has him slightly, because Zamora had a successful dev lab for the defense, and I think this obviously is an indication of his successful dev lab because the dev lab happened after this. Because last year he was really bad, negative 8.1, but he'll be a positive fielder at the corners. His outfield defense, I think, let's see, 60 center, 65 outfield range, 55, 65. So, I mean, there's like a trade off there. 65. Okay, no, they both have the same output range. That's why I think I like Zamora more. And I mean, the sad truth is we're paying Zamora more money. I'm not really a just because you make more, you get prioritized more mindset. But in this case, it kind of makes the most sense. So I think for now, Churio is the odd man out at the moment. But Zamora is going to slot in as the backup at center, right, and left. I mean, there's a world where we carry two extra outfielders. That's totally possible. We're already at 15. We need to get down to at least 13. Depending on the pitching, we could carry 14 on either side of the field, whether that's defense or offense. But up next, Marcelo Mayer. He's going to be the backup short, third, and second baseman. So we're going to slot him there. And wait, short, third, second. Yeah, there we go. Okay. And then after that, we have Phil Stoyle. Now, this is where it gets tough. So this is the issue. It's either Churio or Zamora are going to start at right field, or you have Phil Stoyle. And I can't lie, man. Okay, so Phil had an insane spring. His final average was 377. It wasn't a high, amount of plate appearances. I think it was roughly 50, maybe ish. Um, and then his short stint in Double A, he also played in the draft league before the draft last year, and did solid there against similar talent level. But in the Double A, crushed it. I mean, it was only 46 plate appearances, but holy, he was obviously on pace for Triple A. This is his ratings relative to the majors, obviously. He's extremely similar already to guys like Churio um, and guys like Calvin Mitchell. So, I mean, if they're making the roster and he has better defense than someone like Mitchell, Churio's defense is honestly kind of similar. I'm just stumped. Okay, he's a top 100 prospect, so there's a world where he competes for Rookie of the Year, as will Alex Lira be. He'll be competing for Rookie of the Year also, because, or I guess all rookies are competing for Rookie of the Year, but I mean the promotion incentive pick that you can get if you have a top 100 prospect in the running for Rookie of the Year. That's what I meant. Um, but yeah, so they'll both be in the running for that. And the thing is, so if we manipulate Stoyle's service time, right? Let's say we start him in AAA, which by the way, his rating relative to the Pacific Coast League is 56. So he's plenty good enough for there. He's actually, I think he would kill it there. But if we start him there and we manipulate his service time, that is the catch to where we wouldn't qualify for that promotion incentive pick anymore because we went that route. So there's kind of a trade off there. Having that pick would be nice. So I'm kind of undecided. You let me know in the comments what you would do. But that's where my mind's at. And then we have a guy like Neil Tolner, who his bat isn't quite ready versus righties. He's definitely going to go down to AAA when he does go down. He'll be plenty fine there. I think we try to let him develop a tiny bit more or just rushing him up for no reason. I do see a world where he's still our future starting first baseman, which would allow us to shake things up some, such as move Abrams away from there. Maybe we eventually move on from Brooks Lee because this is the last year of his contract, which means Abrams could go over to like third or second, and then Barnett could go to third or second, and Toner could slot into first. I don't know. I just don't think he's ready yet. So I think what we do is we demote him and we give him more time. He is a top 100 prospect by the freaking skin of his teeth, dude. 99. But I'm not too worried. I don't think he would be in the running for Rookie of the Year. Maybe I'm underselling him, but yeah. So currently, this is how the roster looks. That leaves us with at least two backup infielders currently. We're at 14, so we still got to get rid of somebody. And we have Churio and Zamora and Stoyle. So we really need to make a decision between Stoyle and Churio pretty much because we've solidified Zamora is going to be our backup outfielder. I need a second to think on this and kind of weigh the pros and cons. You guys let me know what you would do. All right, I made up my mind. I think we're going to do it. Hopefully we don't regret it. I don't really see a world where we regret it, but we're going to do it. I mean, here's my justification. He's already 50 plus everywhere except for power, which as it stands, we wasn't predicting him to be a, some like phenomenal power bat. Anyways, his bars and ratings still do have some coming around to do, but we're going to send it. I think he's ready. He had a great spring. He had a great short, small showing in Double A. But yeah, we're going to send it. He's going to be our starting right fielder. With that said, I think what we're going to do, we keep up both Zamora and Churio. Well, Churio's Batman, I can't lie, I like it. Like it's actually, it looks good. It looks at least average, of course, minus the pop, and his defense is nice. And then Zamora, of course, like I said, we're keeping him regardless. I think this will be our last year with him. He's staying up regardless. And I think what we do is we actually take one on the chin and we demote Mitchell. He did mostly hit DH last year, of course. He had 433 plate appearances and hit literally the epitome of average, which is solid enough for me, especially a team that struggled like we have. But he doesn't have the defensive versatility that Furio does. So I think we're going to demote Mitchell. Kind of sucks. He don't exactly deserve it. There's honestly a world right here where he actually gets claimed when we waive and designate him. And I mean, he fully deserves it. We could shop him as well. Shoot, let's shop him really fast. Let's see what even comes through. Probably won't be anything crazy. As far as prospect packages, there was an appealing prospect here in left fielder Tom Robinson from the Dodgers, but I don't exactly like that he's fragile and that personality mix is pretty miserable. I mean, I think he could end up still possibly being a solid player, but that's kind of a rough combo there. Everybody else here, no one really stands out. You got these guys who are pretty far off and not even projected to really be too much. This guy could be okay. But other than that, that's it. Whenever we go single player and kind of just looking for prospects, let's see what we get. Okay, so Tom Robinson again. He's kind of the outlier. Looks like they just want to offload him. There is Drew Burress. He was a 2026 pick. I remember that name. Pick 7 overall. Solid defender, but he's not projected to be too much. Which I mean, to be fair, Mitchell isn't some amazing player. And then whenever we just go to single player and we put it on everything, some entertaining names do pop up, but it's mainly teams trying to dump contracts. For example, Braves want to dump the 4 years of that Detmers deal. That gets quite expensive toward the back half. Rodon, they're wanting to dump the rest of his contract. 2 years he has left. Shane McClanahan, he has 2 years left. They want to dump it. He's also injured. It's just a day-to-day injury. Nathaniel Lowe, they want to dump his. His isn't too bad, but yeah, this is what's coming through. Aaron Judge, yeah, 37 years old. They get him at first now. He still has that pop, huh? But yeah, he's wrecked now, and he's on 40 mil per. And then Connor Norby. This one's kind of interesting. I can't lie. Pretty cheap contract overall, but yeah, I mean we have a solid infield at this point, in my opinion. I don't really want to add another one to the mix and give us a headache of what we're going to do. Another large contract in Logan Gilbert, 42 mil per. A lot of these other names, I'm not seeing any really prospects aside from maybe a few relievers that I don't even know if I'd call them prospects because they're kind of 25 plus at this point. But Fujita, another one they want to dump the contract, 27 mil per. He's fragile. That's pretty scary that he's fragile and he's already what? How old was he? 35. Yeah, that feels like something bad on the way. Trying to weigh the pros and cons of if we waive and designate him and how likely he is to get snagged up, which he'll deserve it. He deserves, I think, to be hitting for someone this year. I just think right now, on paper, ratings wise, it makes the most sense that it's not for us currently. Yeah, I think we're just gonna waive and designate him and see what happens. He probably is gonna get snagged, sadly, but I mean, that's a decision you got to live with. So it is what it is. And now with Mitchell gone, that's going to make it where Churio, I think I'm going to slot him in at DH. He's going to take over that from Mitchell. And now we just need to slot in the rest of the utility spots. Our plans are actually to start Abrams at first. He'll be a freak there, of course, with his current infield defense. And then we're going to do, Barnett at first, Abrams at second, due to the 65 ability at second now with the 65 infield range. He surely shouldn't put up another year of negative zone rating at second base. If he does, I'm calling it rigged. But we will have him as the backup first baseman. Up next, we have Mayer behind him, followed by Barnett as well to get reps at second if needed. Brooks Lee at third with Barnett behind him, and then Mayer. Anthony Volpe with Rafaela, our center fielder, as the backup shortstop if needed, and then Mayer behind him. Alex Lira in left with Zamora backing up all three of them, and we're also going to slot in Churio at left, right, and center. Hopefully, you don't have to play center too much, but because it would struggle there with that 55 defense. But this is how we're looking for now. I think as far as a backup DH, we'll have to see who we really want to go with there because there's a few ways it can go. Laura, we're just going to keep for another body for infield defense if needed. Um, that could be flexible and we bring up someone who would be a more reputable backup DH or backup defense across the board. But he just made the most sense now because our infielders are going to get more tired considering we will have Churio who can play defense in the outfield and Zamora. And our infielders, I didn't want to leave just Mayer planning to back up every single dude, which would have been a pain in the ass. I think what we do maybe is we put Joe Mack here versus righties and we just leave it on if tired. As far as behind Alfonso with Mack, we're going to do every third game. The rest of this will probably change up some stuff like that, like maybe go every third or second for a few of these positions, just to get a little bit of rotation and handle some of the fatigue ourselves. But on paper, this is how we're looking. As far as the actual order of lineup, let's set that now. As far as our leadoff hitter for versus righties, I think we're going to go with Byron Churio. Just because his avoid Ks versus righties, and he's at least 50 plus everywhere. He's got 55 contact and 50 I. He's a solid base runner as well. So if he gets on, maybe he'll be able to steal a bag or two. We do have his stealing bases turned up a little bit due to his stealing ability being 60. So he'll slot in there. Followed up behind him for versus righties, I'm leaning towards Alex Lira as it currently stands. He has at least 70 contact, 65 BABIP, 70 avoid Ks. He has a 60 power and 55 I. So I'm leaning toward Lira in the 2 or 3 hole. Right now, honestly, thinking about it on the fly, I'm thinking the 3 hole makes more sense. I think for the 2 hole, we go with CJ Abrams just because the base running ability and he's been pretty consistent ratings wise versus righties. But Abrams in the 2. And then for the pop versus righties, which we kind of lack, there is there, obviously, but we kind of lack the power elsewhere. It kind of then would fall to someone like even Rafaela or Abrams. I mean, there's a world where we would also let Joe Mack consistently bat DH. I think there in the 4 hole, maybe we swap Barnett and Lira. Maybe we put Barnett in 3, Lira in 4 hole. Maybe that makes the most sense. Well, we also have Afonso. I totally forgot. He doesn't have the power though. You know what? That's what I think we do though. I think we go Alfonso 3. Dang, 3 lefties in a row is kind of weird though. It's okay. I think we go Alfonso 3, Lira 4. We roll with that. From there, I think we're going to go down the order by contact, sort of like maybe Brooks Lee and then Rafaela. Who has the better power out of those two? Also, this is how I typically set my lineups whenever I'm doing it. Usually I do it off camera. I figured I'd show it this time so you guys can just see how I go about it. I don't know if you'll learn anything. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Be sure to tell me how you go about yours, or if maybe you just ask the manager for his opinion. This is what we settled on versus righties. We're going to go with Alfonso Lira, Rafaela, and then Brooks Lee. And Phil Stoyle in the 7 hole, there's a world where he bumps up to be like our 1 or 2 hole guy once he realizes more of his potential because that avoid Ks and the high contact BABIP, all that will be very great for the 1 or 2 hole. But then Barnett and then Volpe at the bottom. And now let's get set up versus lefties. We'll clear that lineup and we'll set it up. I think nothing changes here. I think we definitely put Churio as the leadoff again. Versus lefties, he's even better. So Byron Churio gets the leadoff spot, and then Barnett. This is where he really shines, by the way. Look at him versus lefties: 80 avoid Ks, 70 contact. I think he goes in the 2 hole here. I think that makes the most sense. As far as power versus lefties, we kind of lack there. Maybe we go Brooks Lee and then Rafaela. It's not Not great. I think I think we go Brooksley, then Barnett, then Rafaela, and then from there we're gonna go maybe Stoyle hits a bit higher versus lefties this time. Go Stoyle. Volpe's better. Then we go Volpe, Abrams, and then Lira falls off a lot versus lefties, which kind of sucks. I think we go Lira, and then I think that literally just leaves Omar Alfonso, and we'll put him at the bottom, and that's how we'll be lining up versus left-handers. For some reason, I didn't get Barnes' position of first on either side there. Yeah, that'll be our lineup versus lefties and righties. Let's go set up the staff. And some quick setup here to our staff. And at first glance, this is what I'm thinking. I'm not done. I haven't demoted anybody. I wanted you guys to see the thought process on that. We're at 16 players. Alfaro is going to slot back in with the stopper roll with the 40 stamina. Totally trust that. Very good versus righties. Solid enough versus lefties. I'm going to put him on 7th in close game with high leverage. Adrian Morjan, we're going to put him on middle relief. His overalls and stuff did drop, but we're gonna put him on middle relief. It's on used more often, but I think we toned that down to normal usage. As far as the pin goes, we're gonna keep Shane Baz in the 1 hole, followed by Blake Snell in the 2, and then our guy Nick Martin in the 3, who I am so excited about. Man, you guys have no idea how pumped I have been for this dude to just finally make it. But yeah, he's here, and he's gonna be in the 3 hole. Denny Kerwin gets the nod at 4. Reason being, I know he kind of struggles versus lefties, but he's above average versus righties at a few spots. He has 55 plus. He has a good fastball, and because he had a good year last year, and I'm not going to bail on him. Nelly Early beat out Will Warren for the 5 spot. It's because his consistency against both sides versus the stuff versus lefties, where if you look at Will Warren, his control struggles versus lefties instead of his stuff, it's really not that big of a difference. To be honest, the 5 hole, the 4 and 5 might swap a lot because another guy we're going to let make the roster is Parker Hutra. And if he realizes all of his potential of that changeup and his control and stuff, there's a world where he locks down the 4 or 5 spot. So fully expect Kerwin, Early, and Hutra and Warren to kind of be swapping around uh, that 4 through 5 spot to long relief or emergency starters. Eric Segura is going to go down. He's not there versus lefties at all. That could just be who he is going forward. He might not ever really make it versus them, and maybe he'll just be kind of what we see. Maybe he'll get some of the movement versus both sides of the plate. But where he is a sidearm pitcher and he's right-handed, I'm not expecting the lefty side to come around too much, which would be very unfortunate for him. We're going to demote him back down to AAA and see if he can't figure it out some more first. That puts us at 15 players. So we got some more decisions to make here. I think right now I lead towards sending down Marcus Johnson, which we'll probably have to waive and designate him. We'll have to see. No, we don't actually. Okay, that works. It puts us at 14. We just need to shed one more, and I'm kind of undecided. The way the rest of the pin I'm thinking right now is Michael Regalado. We're going to put him as a specialist versus lefties because he's still very solid versus them. As for Alexander Alberto, which we got in the Rule 5 from the Rangers, we are going to put him as a specialist versus righties. That control is scary, but we'll see what he can do with it. There's a world where he ends up getting demoted or rather released back to the Rangers. It just depends how things go. We always like to micromanage the pin, of course. Managing the pin well can win you a championship. Firm believer in that. And then from there, Warren and Parker at long relief, we're going to give the emergency starter role to both of them. Adrian Morjon, Yuri De Los Santos, both at middle relief. Viza's currently at middle relief. I don't like his bars versus lefties, but man, he's been consistent. And like, I don't want to dip on that if I'm being honest. Like, he's just got it. And that's the same thing with freaking Laura, man. Like, which that is AAA there. In 2028, he kind of showed his head of probably who he really is. Last year, though, he was really solid. I lean towards sending Laura down. It's Laura or Viza. And Viza, I think, has been a little too consistent for us to demote him. I think we get rid of Laura for now. And that should put us down to 13. And this is how our pin is currently looking. Just to be clear, we don't have anybody on the injured list right now. So no one coming back from injuries or anything. This is our current lineup, current starters, and this is our current pitching staff for the 2030 season. So now let's go check out those preseason predictions. So just to be sure, it is opening day. That means all teams, and you can judge by the waiver wire as well, they should be cut down to their 26-man roster. So the prediction should be as accurate as they're going to be. Of course, not taking any injuries or anything like that into account. Let's take a look. Oh my gosh. Can you believe it? Have we finally constructed a playoff roster? It has taken forever, man, like 4 years. This would be what, our fourth year, right? I'm not tweaking. So look, 1, 2, I'm tweaking. Our fifth year. I'm an idiot. Forgot about having to actually count the 2026 season. Yeah, fifth year, above 500's projection, only 2 games back off the division win. Now, listen, I know firsthand you cannot follow these things. It had us finishing second to last year, and we finished like where the Tigers are. But yeah, you never know what can happen. Injuries happen, things like that. But anyways, has us and the Orioles at the top, only 2 games back from them. Then it has the Mariners, the last year's World Series winners, and the Rangers at first and second for the AL West. The Blue Jays and the Yankees bringing it up from the bottom, and the Angels and the Twins. It's 4 top hitters and top pitchers. Let's see if we have anybody from Raleigh in here. We do not. Actually, we do. Nick Martin. Oh my gosh, our rookie. They're projecting him to be a top pitcher this year. What's his projected line? 16 wins, 8 losses, 3.15 ERA, which is the lowest on this list. 163 hits allowed, 8.5 K per 9. I mean, I would love that. I would love nothing more, but man, is that putting some pressure on the rookie's shoulders. As for the NL side of things, NL East, the Reds and Expos, did we both figure it out at the same time? Like both teams? Kind of getting their shit together the same year, huh? Good for them. Projected to finish 2 games behind the Reds, with the Pirates absolutely miserable, 61 and 101, and then the Mets above them. In the NL West, the Dodgers and the Rockies. It's kind of cool to see the Rockies up here again. And then at the bottom, Cardinals and the Giants. Here is their top projected hitters and pitchers. Juan Soto still around on the Mets. Actually, still extremely good. I mean, he is only 31. It's so hard to forget how young the dude still is in real life. They've locked him up till 2034, and then they've already signed him to extension then. I can't lie. I don't know why the AI does this. I hope they kind of fix it in the next game. But regardless, he's locked up till he's 40. Yeah, actually, that might be his real life contract. I'm tweaking. Ignore that. Um, but yeah, the AI does do that sometimes, where they extend whenever a player still has multiple years left. Hector Rodriguez, don't talk about it. If you know, you know. And then Otani. And then as far as pitchers go, that's how those look. Garrett Crochet did end up with Milwaukee, by the way. But that is projections, man. They have us at 95 and 67. Only 2 games back from the division win. We'll have to see what happens. As far as home runs go, we're more toward the bottom. We aren't really a big power team, so that's fair. Stolen bases, though, has a second. So we'll see what happens. Another fun thing that's kind of cool to check out is top right here, you'll see the team position rankings across the league. Just what OSA thinks. I don't put a lot of stock into these, but it already thinks that Lira is the second best left fielder, so that's kind of cool. Has Shane Baz as the 9th best pitcher. For some reason, it shows Yuri De Los Santos for our relievers, but 17th. It says Jervis Alfaro is the second best closer in the league, which I could see with that overall anyway. Some other notable things here. Let's see. Soil comes in at 29, so he's not last. There's that. Anthony Volpe at 14th, Abrams at 12th, and then Mac at 8th. It actually picked Mac over Alfonso, but they're probably close, to be fair, to the same ranking. But like I said, I don't put a lot of stock into those. Another thing that dropped is the new top 100 prospects list, just updated. We'll go over the top 10 here. First, for the Marlins, is Justin Farrell, the center fielder. Next is Joe Ashley, the first baseman for the Giants, who looks insane. Oh my gosh. That dude's going to knock the stuffing out of the ball. We'll see how bad Oracle Park suppresses him, though. Is he a lefty? He is. It already suppresses lefties, too. Favors righties there, but oh well. Jorge Torres, the White Sox. Wes Caffin with the Rockies. Miguel Bautista with the Giants. Dude, the Giants are loaded. Miguel Bautista, uh, Joe Ashley, and then Ken Edwards. They have a bunch up here. That's crazy. The Expos have two back to back. That's kind of scary. Larry Cruz, a right-handed pitcher. Wow. Yeah, they got him in this past draft, pick 10. He was a high school arm, nicknamed K Dub. That's pretty cool. Mario Hernandez, right-handed pitcher as well. He was the guy we looked at this past draft. Or no, why does he sound so familiar? I think it's the Hernandez that's getting us. He was an international amateur free agent signing. Ignore me. John Mayer or Mayer, not to be confused with the music artist for the Blue Jays, the right-hander. He was a minor league free agent signing. What happened? On a minor league contract worth a bonus of 11 mil. So, oh, he was drafted by them. Released by Kansas City. Okay. So did the AI have a blunder? Probably. Okay. Well, that sucks for the Royals. He's now a Blue Jay. And then Andy Rabe at 10 for the Mets. Let's go take a real quick look before we kick off the season at our own top prospects going into the year, because a lot of dudes we did promote were our top ones. But so Martin and Lear will be coming off the list this year. They'll both be competing for Rookie of the Year respectively, along with Phil Stoyle. Once they eclipse that major service mark, they will come off of the top prospects list. As for other players we still have to look forward to, we have Jason DeCaro, who we hope can still make it. Juan Hernandez, the second baseman, who was an international amateur free agent, who was developing so good. Has kept his potential all the way through. He keeps it up, he'll be a real freak. Up next, of course, Neil Toner. You guys know him really well by now. Next, Jonah Ace. It has him ranked higher than I probably would. He looks like he'd be okay, but I feel like we have other players in our org that should be ranked higher than him. But they have him 118 overall, but our number 7. Jose Gonzalez, a left fielder, still not developed too well. He is still only 17. Ryan Marino, the 21-year-old right-handed pitcher, they have him at 131. He just fell off a cliff, sadly. Oscar Castillo, he was an international amateur free agent signing that fell off a cliff. We knew him as an 80 to 75 potential. This is usually what happens to most international amateur free agents, right? So that's expected. Cesar Morales, the second baseman, another international amateur free agent signing. Jacob Lombard, a shortstop, who was just a minor league free agent signing. That's pretty solid defense. It's kind of nice to have guys with good defense in your minor league system, even if they'll never make it to the majors. Helps your young pitchers that are coming up the ranks. Ed Mills, a guy from back in that 2027 draft, has kept some of his potential. He was 60, but he's now around 50, 53 potential. He could still end up making it. He's only 21, so that's cool. And Mike Jones, who we're really excited about. I'm surprised he isn't ranked higher, to be honest. This dude can make it in like 2 to 3 years' time and be our starting catcher, which would line up perfect with Alfonso and Joe Mack leaving. Johnny Santiago, Hutra will also come off of this list. Manny Carrillo. And yeah, we'll stop there because we could go forever. And then, of course, Aaron Barnett will come off this list. One name that I will show before we go, though, Dan Price. He's another guy that could become serviceable if we increase his defense. He could have an okay bat, maybe a utility guy for us, but his defense really needs to improve. But that is our prospects. That is the preseason predictions. I literally can't stop looking at these. We're going to scour the waiver wire and see if there's any bargain pickups here that would improve our bullpen. And if not, we're going to get the offseason or the regular season rolling. We're going to be starting our season against the Tampa Bay Rays in a 2-game series away. We have a long time before we even have a break. We have like a week and 3 days before we even get a break. The first 2 games of the season are at home though, against the Rays. This is how they look. Pitching not so great. Offense is actually all right. They did land Shea Langlers this offseason to a respectable contract. I mean, I don't like the length, but the amount is kind of solid. But yeah, this is how they look. I think they're projected to finish around 500, 77, 85, so not quite. They are going to have, it looks like Jared Jones on the mound. Looks like he has a movement issue. Maybe we can get a few homers out of him. He has really good pitch repertoire, though. And then, of course, we're going to have Shane Baz on the mound. So we're going to get this season rolling, and we'll check out the box scores. Well, we do split the opening series with the Rays. We lose the first game 2-4. They get one in the top of the 9th, but the game was a little bit over before then. We just couldn't scrape back. It looks like the player of the game ended up being Shane Baz. He came out and he had 4 Ks, 2 walks, 3 earned runs on 5 hits in his debut for us. Where Morjon came in done his thing, Alfaro came in and gave up that 1 run, likely in the top of the ninth there, and then De Los Santos came in as well. As far as their side of things, Jared Jones only pitched point 0.1 innings. I'm gonna assume, yeah, he got hurt sadly. And then Brady came in and for 2.1 innings and did solid enough, as well as Kip. It was a combined effort over there after the injury. You can tell they were scrambling, but they made it work. It looks like a case of we just left runners on base, man. We left 12 on base. Oh my God. Okay, we should have won that. Yeah, we had 11 hits, 2 runs on 11 hits, 1 error. The error was Barnett. Double plays. We had double plays that involved Volpe, Abrams, Barnett, and Volpe, Abrams. Oh, and Barnett again. Never mind. Didn't realize they were both the same. As far as home runs, Churio gets one, and Rafaela gets one. That was our lone 2 runs. They were 2 solo homers, sadly. On the day, though, Churio went 2 for 5. 1 for 5 for Abrams, 3 for 5 for Alfonso. Lira goes 1 for 5 in his debut. Stoyle goes 1 for 3. Uh, Inflating his batting average early. We like it. 1 for 2 for Barnett. 0 for 4 for Volpe. So slow start that he had in spring's kind of carrying over just in that first game. Check out that win though. We went 6-1. They got their lone run in the top of the eighth. We had 12 hits. Another error. Who was the error? This time it was Brooksley. On the hitting side of things, first who was player of the game? Blake Snell. All right, pitching showing up early. Churio goes 1 for 5 with 2 Ks and an RBI. Abrams 1 for 3 with a walk. 2 for 3, big game out of Mr. Consistency himself, Alfonso, with an RBI. 0 for 4 day out of Lira. He strikes out twice. 2 for 4 for Rafaela. 3 for 4 for Brooksley. 0 for 4 for Stoyle. He strikes out twice, though. 1 for 3 for Barnett and 2 for 3 for Volpe. He gets going. He scores twice and drives in 2, has a walk and a K. On the day, Volpe hits the lone homer. Stolen bases, Abrams grabs one, and the player of the game, Blake Snell, he pitched a pretty solid one. He goes 5.2 innings with 4 Ks, allowing only 3 hits, no earned runs. Then the pen comes in and continues to do their thing till Morjon comes in and he gives up the lone earned run on the game. Kuchar comes in and shuts things out in that long relief role. Solid team effort. I think we'll cover these next 2 games versus the Red Sox, and then we'll kind of go to our monthly check-ins like we always do, and just the regular season shenanigans of seeing where we can and can't promote or improve the team, and promote and demote players out of the pen, trying to micromanage it. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this season, man. It's nice to finally have some predictions that give us some hope. And we also split the second series of the year versus Boston. We lose 2-5. In this one, they got on the board pretty handedly in the bottom of the sixth. They dropped 4 on us. Another error. We've had an error in every game so far. That's kind of annoying. As far as the player of the game, it went to Jedixon Paez, which is their pitcher, who is actually pretty dang good, if I remember correctly. This was Nick Martin's debut, by the way. I totally forgot about that. So I'm excited to check out how that went down there. Churio on the day, 1 for 4, 0 for 4, bad day out of Abrams, 1 for 4 for Lira. Really nothing of note on the hitting side of things. We have 6 hits, 2 RBI, 1 for 3 day out of Stoyle though, so that is nice. No walks, 8 strikeouts. As far as pitching goes for us, Nick Martin in his debut knocks down 11 hitters. That's kind of huge. 11 Ks in his debut, 3 earned runs, 7 hits. You hate the 3 earned runs, of course, but as a whole, you can live with it. Sadly, Alfaro gets credited with the blown save, and then Visa came in. I guess he got credit with that blown save because the bottom of the sixth and the game was still, we were actually up at that point. So yeah. As for the Boston side of things, their big performer was really Mikey Romero, 3 for 4, and then Sean Murphy still doing his thing. He's 35. But yeah, Mikey Romero, 3 for 4 day, and then Sean Murphy, 2 for 4 with 4 RBIs. Home run, Stoyle gets his. I think that's his first of the year, right? Yep, Stoyle gets his first home run of the year. So that's cool. And as far as stolen bases go, Volpe grabs one, and he is also the person who committed the error. So hate to lose that one in Martin's debut, but pretty solid showing for the rookie. In the next game, though, we go into the 10th inning. This one goes to extras. We win 8-6, scoring 2 in the top of the 10th to win it. We finally had no errors this game, but the Red Sox made up for it and they dropped two for us. Player of the game went to Alex Lira. We got to check this out. Churio goes 0 for 5, 0 for 4 for Abrams, but he does walk and he scores. 1 for 4 for Alfonso with a walk. Zamora ends up, I guess, coming again to pinch run for, yeah, he comes into pinch run for him. He didn't end up scoring. Alex Lira, 3 for 4, 4 runs, 6 RBI games, or 6 RBI game, 1 walk. Wow, how many homers? He had 3 home runs. Alex Lira. That is what I'm talking about, man. Already at 3 home runs. That's crazy. You'd love to see it. Rafaela goes 0 for 4. The other notables, looks like Joe Mack pinch hits for him, and he comes in and goes 1 for 1. So he came in and did a job. Brooksley 2 for 5. Stoyle 2 for 5 with 2 RBIs. And then Barnett 0 for 3. And sadly, Volpe struck out all 4 times he was up at the plate. So yeah, though, that's a nice win. As far as pitching goes, Danny Kerwin went 4 innings. Walking 3, striking out, or sorry, yeah, 4 innings, striking out 4, walking 3, allowing only 1 earned run on 4 hits. Will Warren comes in though and gives up 2. Alfaro gives up 1, and then Yuri De Los Santos comes in and gives up 2, sadly. But then from there, the pen really shut things down. De Los Santos gets credited with the blown save. I'm going to assume that was in the bottom of the 8th, sadly, where they dropped 3 to force extras. But then top of the 10th, the offense got it done off of a massive game for Lira. I'm curious. Game was a stalemate until right fielder Phil Stoyle came to bat in the top of the 10th, facing Boston pitcher Nick Robertson. He hit a 1-1 fastball for a 2-run single. It was a game changer, putting Raleigh on top. So the rookie wins it for us. That's huge, man. That is huge. Calvin Mitchell did clear waivers, thankfully, so he's going to go down to AAA. Of course, sadly, we'll have to relive the waiving and designating him for assignment again as soon as we have to promote him because of an injury or something. But yeah, for now, he's going to go back down to AAA and hopefully keep that bat hot. April has came and gone. It is now May 1st, and we finish the opening month of the season at 17-11, only 1 game behind the Guardians. Elsewhere, the Rangers off to a blazing start of 20-8. Red 17-10, Dodgers 17-10. As far as the bottom of things, the Mariners, the World Series champions, come out cold, and the Brewers come out at 7-20. So they're even colder. As far as stats go, we'll check in on those. According by WRC Plus, Churio has been repaying us for putting our trust in him. He's already accumulated 1.1 WAR. The only other person to have higher than that is Volpe, who was already at 5.3 zone rating, mind you, which is insane considering all last year. He we take a look. All last year he was at 11.2, and we're only a month through the season and he's at 5.3. So you can only imagine how much that might go up. He will definitely be in the running for a Gold Glove at shortstop. But yeah, Churio killing it. He has 154 WRC plus, 8 home runs. Alex Lira 149 with 7 home runs and 25 RBIs. Brooks Lee 136, 5 home runs, 14 RBIs, and .9 WAR. Zamora is hitting well in that fourth outfielder slot, hitting a 134 WRC plus. Aaron Barnett 126 with 8 homers, tied with Churio for the most right now. And then you have Volpe at 102. And then this is where it kind of slows down. You have Alfonso at 83. Stoyle had a rough opening month, but that's okay. Like, I have full faith in him to get it together. Whenever we go to his game logs, you'll see kind of every other game he's still showing up. So you gotta give him time. He's a rookie working out the kinks. I'm not even worried. Abrams off to a slow start, as well as Rafaela. I have full faith they'll turn it around. On the pitching side, things will sort by ERA plus. Of course, small sample size for literally all the relievers. Only 6 innings, 10 innings, 5 innings, but they're all at 999 ERA plus, as well as Visa and Morjan, or Visa at 14 innings has the same. Morjan has 232 with 15 innings pitched. First starter when sorting by ERA plus is Blake Snell with 170 in 6 starts and an 83 fit minus, which you love to see. Shane Baz with a 152 and 67 already eclipsed the. He's the first person to eclipse the 1 WAR as far as pitching goes. Jervis Alfaro, our stopper, he's just on a day-to-day minimal injury, so we're not even going to put him on the IL for that. But he's a 129 and 60. Nick Martin, the rookie, a 107 ERA plus and 85 FIP minus in 6 starts, point 0.7 WAR. He had a pretty crazy game the other day, I think, where got his he shut things down against someone. Oh yeah, the Blue Jays. He didn't have a lot of Ks, uh, but he only allowed 2 hits in 6 innings, which is pretty cool. Um, yeah, excited about him. Will Warren, uh, kind of been struggling as well as the rest of these guys in Kerwin and Early, but no pun intended, it is still early. And then Yuri De Los Santos, only 9 innings, and he's been struggling as well. That is how the month of April went. Our current record versus righties were crushing them, 11 and 6. April 17 and 11. Last 10 games were 6 and 4. Some notable stretches was this stretch right here, where right after I said I was going to go back to monthly sims, we lost the Guardians, but then we racked off 4 straight to win the series versus the Guardians and the Blue Jays. And we came out and struggled in extras versus the Nationals. And then we went on a good run again here of 3 straight, 3 straight, 3 straight. So it's kind of like win three, lose one or two, win three, lose one or two. But hopefully we can keep some momentum going. And I think the sky's the limit for our ball club right now. Well, it's been a miserable start to May, man. We got almost swept by the Royals. We lose that series 1-2. Every single game was a 2-1 final. Uh, we lost by one twice and then won by one. And then we had a very grueler of a series versus the Rangers where we get swept, lose by one, and lose by one. So we have lost by one run. What, 5 out of the last 6 games? No, 6 out of the last 7 games we have lost by one run. And we win by one run here. Holy crap. Talk about, we're the freaking cardiac cats, bro. This is insane. But the main reason for this check-in was sadly Churio goes down, and he's been our best hitter. He's out for 2 weeks. He picked up a concussion, sadly. So he's going to go down and be on the IL for a bit, sadly. And whenever he gets back, though, he'll slot right back in to that DH role and back to his backup outfield role. But you guys know what that means. That means Calvin Mitchell's back, baby. Until we get a wave and designate him again, and then we'll be sad whenever he actually gets claimed this time. And we did go ahead and slot him in as the starting DH versus righties and lefties, and put him as a backup versus at left field and right field. Uh, the second backup behind Zamora. So I'm sure he'll get some reps there over the next 2 weeks while we wait on Churio to come back. But we're going to touch up the lineup some and put Mitchell where he should be. All right, well, it happened this time. We waived and designated Mitchell because Churio was coming back, and Pittsburgh has claimed him. He didn't do well whenever he came up. Did okay. Okay, no, he didn't. Let's not lie. Um, 43 plate appearances, 77 WRC plus. Wasn't good enough. Did not place Churio at all in that short stint. But yeah, it looks like he's gonna be on his way to Pittsburgh. It'll be fun. We'll add him to the default shortlist just to track how he does. May has passed, and us, like a lot of other teams, it would seem, would love to forget that it ever even happened. It was very rough. You can see right away, just looking at the calendar, all that red is not nice. But I can't lie, it wasn't an easy month, man. You got to think, we played the Rangers, we played the Yankees, who did have bad projections, but their roster is still solid, I think, right? Like, yeah, I mean, the pitching, well, the starting rotation's respectable. Offensive side of thing, pretty respectable. So, I mean, I feel like they're better than projections, maybe. The predictions had them. And we played the Guardians, who were very good. We lost that series. And then we played the Red Sox. We won that one 3-1. And we played a very good Reds team that was just in the World Series this past year. We lost that one 1-2. And then thankfully we got to finish up against the Pirates. They let us win that series because sadly, their roster is in a rough spot right now. But on the month, ultimately we did go 11 and 16, which is very bad. That was bad enough to get us only one game above 500. But with that being said, the reason I said I think other teams struggled is that only has us 4 games out of the division lead. Still doing that poor in May, thanks to a solid opening month of April. As far as the wild card goes, that's 3 games behind there. A little early to be thinking about this stuff, I know, but just trying to put it into perspective. But the Guardians and Orioles are both in first and second with the Tigers in front of us. The Rangers, Angels, and White Sox. I mean, this battle over here in the AL West is actually crazy because the Mariners are right there as well. As far as the NL East, the Expos lead there, and then the Dodgers are 5.5 games ahead of the Padres in the NL West. This is the current wild card picture. The Pirates and the Athletics are bringing it up the rear in each league, respectively. As far as leaders go currently, you'll see actually Aaron Barnett is tied for first with Donald Joseph of the Athletics for RBIs. And then earned run average, Blake Snell leads there and wins. He's tied for third, or tied for first, really, with 7. Or as a stat check in, Churio came back and he instantly just got back to his ways after getting back from injury. Thankfully, he's still been our best hitter. He does have a still respectable amount of plate appearances, even though he missed roughly 2 weeks. Next up is Barnett. I can't lie, he's surprising me. I really didn't expect, like, he's really good versus lefties, but I didn't expect, I'm probably jinxing it, him to hold his own versus righties, which I wouldn't call that holding his own. He's hitting a 77 WRC plus, but whenever he plays versus lefties, man, he is crushing them. Next is Alex Lira, of course. Uh, I have to remind myself often this dude's only 21 years old, by the way. Kind of crazy. But same for him. Like he has, by the way, better ratings versus. Okay, no, I had it backwards. I was gonna say he has better ratings versus lefties because I saw this and it threw me off. He's struggling versus lefties, but crushing righties, which is what we want. Um, if we're gonna have bad splits, we did decide to bump Mac up to the starting spot. His bat's been a little more consistent. You'll see he had 81 plate appearances, and Alfonso had 153. So roughly, you know, Alfonso had pretty much 50% more plate appearances, but Mac was more consistent whenever he was getting his chance. So we're giving Mac that job for now. We're taking it from Alfonso and starting him. Brooks Lee at 109. And then Stoyle turned it around. You remember the first month he finished with like a 60 or 70 WRC plus. He's up to a respectable 94 now. Point 0.8 WAR, currently on pace for 2.4 as it stands. So can only imagine how much better that can get for him. And then you have Abrams and Volpe at 92, hovering average, and then sadly falls off a cliff a ways, and then it goes all the way down to Rafaela. But he's given us that good center field defense. When we sort by zone rating, him and Volpe are dominating there. Well, and Abrams actually. Abrams, this proves the infield defense. DevLab really helped him because of, you know, he's flipped tenfold at second base as far as zone rating goes. Volpe is killing it there at 9.5. We're only through May, but Rafaela is still doing really good at center defensively. So we're willing to sacrifice the bat, sadly, although we do wish it wasn't that bad. But maybe it's just a bad month, not a bad season for him. War wise, we already have a 2 WAR player in Volpe that is largely being carried by his defense. I wasn't joking earlier whenever I said he was on pace for some insane zone rating because, like I said, 9.5 after May is nuts. And we have Churio and Abrams and Barnett who have already hit 1. On the pitching side of things, we have the pen has got a little more innings in them, not too much. Guys like Alberto and Regalado, who are just specialists, are both at 10 innings apiece. But whenever they do face a lefty or righty, they are doing their thing. Visa showing up and being consistent some way, somehow. This guy's ratings never make sense to me. I mean, he's respectable versus righties, but still, you don't expect this kind of consistency, in my opinion. Utrip has been well in that long relief role. Um, Next up, Blake Snell leads our starters. He has 1.6 WAR. The next highest WAR leader is Shane Baz with 1.6 also. Morjan De Los Santos, you'll see how good our pitching's been. It literally, you have to go all the way down to Will Warren where you get below 100 ERA plus, and even then, it's not that far in Nick Martin. He has had a rough string of starts earlier in the month whenever we were playing those teams like Texas, Minnesota, Cleveland. So against the Pirates and the Red Sox, he kind of found his groove. This stat line's kind of funny, by the way. Pitched 7 innings, 1 strikeout, 1 walk, 1 home run, only allowed 2 runs. So that's an interesting one there. But then a big 9 Ks, 1 earned run on 4 hits against the Pirates. So, and it's not that he did too bad. I mean, the 5 earned runs against Guardians and the Twins is really rough. But he had a respectable outing against the Rangers, but that's a really good Rangers team who look to be on pace to have the best record in the AL as it currently stands. Still early, but yeah, he's on pace for 2.2 WAR. I think he'll ultimately finish positive whenever it comes to ERA plus and FIP minus. After that, we have Canelli Early and Denny Kerwin. I can't lie. Right now, I'm thinking about giving Will Warren a shot because we've reached what 11 games started, and I think I'm thinking about switching Will for one of Early or Kerwin. I'm gonna give him a little bit more time, but yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, there's a world where Parker also, because Parker's having a good time out of the pen, but I don't know if he's good enough to start yet. But that's something I'm thinking about going forward. We're going to continue moving along in the season. Only midway through June, so a little bit of an early check-in, but that's mainly because Nick Martin. You can see he's already been doing better compared to the last few check-ins with a 117 and 95 FIP minus. If we go to his game log, though, I wanted to show you guys this. He almost had a no-hitter in his start before last. In a 4-3 win versus the Blue Jays, he went 8.2 innings pitched, giving up only one hit, one earned run on 9 strikeouts and 3 walks. Check this out. The hit didn't come until like what midway in the eighth, I believe. Yeah, because yeah, he pitched 8.2 innings. So yeah, it's kind of nutty. You could see too they hadn't scored at all until uh, Borjon comes in, and then he lets it blows wide open. He went 111 pitches deep as well, so that 70 stamina paying off there. But yeah, he's been on fire. This was a phenomenal outing from him. Morjon almost choked it. A phenomenal gym from him. Looking at the standings, we are only 2.5 games back from the division lead from the Tigers. We are both 8-2 in our last 10. You'll see the Jays are on a horrific skid of 1-9. Elsewhere, you have the Rangers, White Sox, Mariners. I mean, this division's a slugfest. I could go almost all the way down. You go all the way down to the Astros, and it's all 4 games within. Ours is no slouch, though. I mean, all the way down to the Orioles, it's still pretty tight. Um, Over here, you have the Reds leading the Expos. And then you have the Dodgers up 4 games on the Cubs and the Padres in the West. As far as the wild card picture, this is how it currently looks. Um, right now, the Athletics, Royals, Brewers, and of course the Pirates are still looking like the worst teams in the league. As far as the leaderboards over here, no one at the top anymore, but down toward the bottom, as far as hitting streak goes, Phil Stoyle is currently on a 16-game hitting streak. ERA, we have 2 of our starters there, and Blake Snell and Shane Baz. And for wins, Blake Snell is there. Something crazy, right? We're definitely going to jinx it. Blake Snell is 10-0. We definitely just jinxed it. But yeah, he's literally 10-0. You'll see in the games he has pitched, no runs against the Yankees, 1 against the Jays, 1 against the Mets. Kind of nutty, man. He has a 213 ERA plus. He's on Cy Young pace, let's be honest. Currently on Cy Young pace. 213 ERA plus, 70 FIP minus. His last Cy Young was in 2023. So that'd be something to get 1 7 years later as 37 years old. Similar to like Kyle Kershaw did this past offseason. Got a Cy Young out of nowhere. Um, Elsewhere, though, this is how things are looking. Titsworth has made his way up because Will Warren went down for a while, and we need to promote someone. So we brought up Titsworth. Because ratings wise, he's not that terrible, especially versus righties. And I mean, he's only pitched zero point 0.1 innings, but he did his thing in that 0.1 inning. So credit where credit's due. That's his first innings ever in the MLB. So, I'm sure it's not easy. It's not easy. Otherwise, though, I can't lie. Our pitching's been pretty solid. FIP minus is a little more sporadic than ERA plus. We sort by it kind of don't fall off until Kerwin. It's kind of still the struggle of Kerwin and Early. And then, of course, De Los Santos and Adrian Morjon. Um, I think, I mean, obviously, we're on pace to be buyers at the deadline. We still got like a month and a half until the trade deadline. So we'll see how we're looking. But I think at the deadline, we'll be looking to prioritize shoring up the pin some, maybe getting hopefully a high leverage bullpen arm. Pretty happy with our rotation. Another high leverage bullpen arm would be nice. As far as the offensive side of things, I like our offense. Unless there's something that like falls in our lap that's absolutely amazing. I don't know if we'll buy on offense too much. But as of now, I think we'll be looking to buy a arm at the deadline. Another thing is I'm not oblivious to the fact that we're not like the best team in the league, by any means. So I'm not wanting to jeopardize our future by giving up all kinds of insane prospects for this, for like some 1 year rentals to make a deep playoff run. I do think we can make playoffs. I hope we can finally make playoffs, but I don't want to jeopardize our future just for maybe a one off because looking forward at salaries, it's not like we have any solidity as far as like Abrams, Snell. I mean, literally our top two pitchers by performance this year, Snell and Baz. Baz is about to be up. I'm thinking about extending him. We're probably going to negotiate with him. Snell has a player option, so like there's a world where he leaves right after this year. Abrams as well with a player option. So I'm not going to jeopardize the future for a roster that isn't set up long term to regularly compete in the playoffs as it currently stands. That is our goal though, but as it currently stands, that's not us. So I'm not going to go all out and buy at the deadline unless it's a high leverage arm. But yeah, checking out the hitting things real quick. Stoyle, he's up to a 111 WRC plus, 1.2 zone rating, 1.5 WAR. He is on pace for 3.4, which is awesome. Churio still killing it, still doing Churio things. Um, yeah, he's at 2.2 WAR on place for 5.1, man. He is killing it. I could not have asked for better. Manny Laura, he only has 17 plate appearances as a utility infielder, but he's hitting pretty well. Aaron Barnett still crushing it. And then Lira, Stoyle, Abrams, and then it kind of slows down, of course. Rafaela still hasn't managed to figure it out yet, but that was only 2 weeks ago that we checked in. So, of course, didn't really expect too much to change. Mac has came back down to earth a bit. His gap between him and Alfonso isn't as large, but I mean, it is a 20-point difference in WRC plus between the two. So Mac, I think, obviously will still be the starter for now. But of course, he did have a way larger lead on Alfonso. Some other notable news: Jason DeCaro. We just been, I like to get reports on our prospects that are like 45 potential and higher, like once a month or every 2 months. Um, he had a recent report come back here in June where his stamina went up. He added a circle change to his repertoire, and of course, his overall potential just went up by 1 point. That changes all the time. But yeah, he added a circle change. It's at 25 of 25, but he did add in pitch, which I thought was interesting. But he's having a good year in his first year in AAA. I mean, ERA plus is lacking, but the FIP minus and the WAR is there. I'm sure the ERA plus will come around by the end of the year. Juan Hernandez has made his way up to A ball. The 19-year-old international amateur free agent signing. He's the number 55 prospect overall in the league. He's the guy who has had tons of green and maintained his potential throughout his career so far. Still hasn't wavered yet, but yeah, he's up to A ball, and it looks like in only his 7 plate appearances after we promoted him, he's crushing it. So he could be on pace to jump up maybe to even Double A this year. But as of now, I'm thinking no higher than in High A, but maybe Double A eventually. As far as team stats rankings go, well, of course, first we're 10-4 in June currently, so that's nice. But as far as batting average, we're third in the AL. On base percentage, we're really lacking at 12th. But then you'll see we're top 5 to top 10 in a lot of categories. I mean, top 10 isn't as impressive as it sounds, but either way, being top 5 is pretty nice. Third in slugging percentage, fifth in on base plus slugging, fifth in WAR, eighth in WOBA, seventh in runs scored, second in hits, which is insane. First in extra base hits, we're tied for first. Eighth in home runs, which I expected. We don't have a ton of pop in our lineup right now. Walks were last. We aren't a team with a high I attribute, and that that's where that comes from. Third in the AL in strikeouts, ninth in stolen bases, and then fourth in base running. As far as pitching goes, though, look at this, man. First in ERA, first in starters ERA, second in bullpen ERA, second in runs allowed, second in WAR, first in hits allowed, first in opponent's average, second in BABIP, first in home runs, or home runs allowed. That was runs allowed. I said it twice. Second in runs allowed, first in home runs allowed, and then you'll see seventh in walks, 10th in strikeouts. And then defensive efficiency and zone rating is very, very good, being second and first. Told you guys last year that low of zone rating, I wasn't going to let that fly, and thankfully the dev lab helped us fix that because you can see the difference it makes in your team. Now I know, we got better offensively and pitching wise as a whole, but defense is so important in this game, man. That is going to do it for this episode, though. Hope you guys have been enjoying the series still. Again, please be looking out for that video where I am going to post about the 4 teams I am interested in starting my first save with. I really need your guys' help to help me vote. I don't know In the video, I'll clarify what the plan is. I think I can make polls here on YouTube where you guys can vote. I might do that, and I might do the comment route where you guys can comment down below one of the four teams, and whichever team is commented the most or whichever comment gets the most like with that team's name is the team we'll use. I have four in mind, and I'm kind of stumped, and I really think it'd be cool to get your guys' influence. I appreciate all the support, man. We're closing in on 500 subs, which is something I thought I'd never say. The big goal is 500. After that, I want to shoot for the moon and reach 1,000. I think it's TP27. The sky's the limit for us. All you guys that have been here from the jump, commenting and liking my videos and stuff, I'll never forget you guys. You guys are helping the channel grow a lot, and I look forward to having you guys around for the long call. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.